I should have stopped when I saw the footprints. They weren't mine. They weren't Monica's. We'd been hiking all afternoon. The trail was quiet, too quiet. My chest tightened. The wind rustled the trees, but it sounded wrong. A twig snapped behind me. I spun. Nothing. Just shadows stretching between the trunks. I said, "Probably a deer." Monica wasn't laughing. She remained focused on the trail. She was aware of my deception. We continued walking. Every step we took made my stomach twist. We are being followed. I sensed this feeling. Subsequently, he arrived. Mysteriously appears. His attire was that of rugged clothes and a thick beard, while his eyes did not blink right. "Good evening," he said. Peaceful. Excessively calmness. "Are you returning to the trailhead?" I nodded, never faltering. He directed towards a narrow, winding pathway. "Get lost, you idiot. You will reach by evening." The path dipped, twisted, and narrowed. Leaves crunched behind us. I glanced back. Nothing. Just shadows. And then it came. A laugh. Low, guttural, like the forest itself was alive. I froze. Monica's hand gripped my arm. "Did you hear that?" He vanished into the trees. But I couldn't shake the feeling he wasn't gone. And the footsteps behind us were getting closer. As we accelerated our pace, it seemed as if the forest was alive and pressing against us. As we walked, we could hear the unnatural cracking sound created by leaves under our feet. I repeatedly looked back. Naught. I spotted a shadow darting between the trees faster than a mortal could do. "Maybe it's just someone else hiking," I whispered. My voice trembled. Monica didn't answer. She just squeezed my hand, pale and white-knuckled. A low whistle floated through the air. Slow, deliberate, not human, not quite. The path forked. Both directions looked the same: dense trees, twisted branches, darkness creeping in. I made a choice. Left. Branches scraped my arms as if warning me. A twig snapped behind us. Too close. Then I saw a hand. A fleeting glimpse, pale, brushing against a tree. I froze. Monica gasped beside me. We jogged a short distance, but soon started to walk. All shadows appeared sentient. Every sound became amplified. The crunch of leaves, the swirl of the wind, and the faint call of a bird. However, the sounds behind us never stopped. Another laugh, shorter this time. Shallow, menacing. It made my blood run cold. We reached a small clearing. Moonlight barely touched the forest floor, I whispered. "We need to get out before night falls completely." Monica nodded, silent, tears in her eyes. And then we saw him again. Not running, not walking. Just standing at the edge of the trees, smiling. The smile, wide, unnatural. He moved closer, merging with the shadows. I have no idea which way to go. Forest has turned maze. We are fast running out of time. We had no choice but to keep moving. The trail twisted like a serpent, each bend closing in, suffocating. The footsteps behind us didn't stop. They slowed, then speed, always just far enough to haunt me. I glanced back. Shadows darted between the trees, too quick, too wrong. My chest heaved. Every heartbeat felt like a drum of doom. A whisper cut through the night air. My name. "You can't escape." I froze. Monica's grip dug into my wrist. Her eyes wide, pleading. We ran very fast. Pines bent beneath a forest strain. Our arms were grabbed by branches. We were hit by leaves. It smells of copper, similar to the scent of blood. We accidentally find a clearing. The forest floor shone in moonlight. He was present there, not moving, grinning. That smile is not possible wide. His eyes glinted with something unhuman, cold, empty, malicious. I wanted to scream, but my throat had dried to sand. "Left!" Monica gasped. I followed. The path narrowed, roots tangled our feet, twisting us with every step. Then, branches snapped violently behind us, closer, louder, a growl. Low, guttural, and hollow. Not a dog, not a bear, something ancient, something waiting. We ran blind. Shadows twisted in front of us, mocking our panic. My mind screamed, "Don't look back, don't look back." But instinct forced a glance. The path ended at a creek, water black and freezing, rushing like teeth ready to bite. I risked a glance back. Nothing. Not yet. Then, a splash. A shadow leapt into the creek, moving faster than it should, following our every step. Monica grabbed my hand, pulling me into a desperate scramble. Mud and water sprayed. I tripped, barely catching myself. The forest opened. In the distance, a dim light. Car headlights. A fragile hope. We stumbled onto the road, shivering, soaked, and breathless. And then, silence. Not a sound. I turned back. At the forest edge, he stood, watching, grinning, motionless, yet impossibly present. We were safe, for now. But that grin burned into my mind. And I knew if we ever returned to these woods, he would still be waiting, watching, smiling, hungry. At 2:17 a.m., Max started barking at the corner of the room, and something moved. I had been waiting for this weekend for months. Just me, Emma, and Max, our golden retriever. A small cabin deep in the Appalachia Mountains, remote, quiet, isolated. Perfect, or so I thought. I unpacked on the first night. Max lay by my feet, ears flopping. The trees screamed in the wind. Next, Max stood still. Rigid body, stiff tail. Glance at the corner. A slow rumble from his throat built into frantic barking. I moved forward. The shadows remained still. There should have been nothing there. There was. Sufficient for the hairs on my arm to raise. Emma forced a laugh. It's probably just a raccoon. But even she sounded unsure. My stomach sank. Sleep didn't come. Every creak of the cabin, every whisper of wind, felt like a presence creeping closer. Max refused to leave my side, growling at shadows that slithered along the walls, or maybe inside my mind. Morning brought strange footprints outside. Long, thin, clawed, not human, not any animal I recognized. They led straight to the tree line, then vanished. Someone or something was watching us, waiting, patient. We went hiking in the afternoon. The trail was narrow. The rays of sunlight passed through the treetops. The woods seemed to breathe, shift, and watch us. It was probably just my nerves. However, the snapping of a twig startled me. Max dashed forward, sniffing. At that point, he stood still. Furious wariness deep and throaty growl. Looking at the trees, a figure darted between trunks. Tall, thin, moving too fast, too fluid, like it wasn't fully human. Emma grabbed my arm. Did you see that? I nodded, stomach turning. We tried to find our way back, but the forest twisted unnaturally. Trees shifted, trails warped, landmarks we had passed disappeared. Footsteps behind us. Slow, deliberate, not ours, not Max's, always matching our pace. Panic set in. My heart raced. I whispered to Emma, we shouldn't split up. But the trail ahead forked into dozens of paths. Every direction looked wrong. Night fell. We ran back to the cabin, doors locked, windows shut. Max stayed at the center of the living room, trembling. At 2:17 a.m., the knocking started. Hard, heavy, insistent. And a whisper, low, guttural, calling Emma's name. Drawn out, impossible to ignore. I grabbed a flashlight. Emma froze behind me. Max growled louder than ever. Outside, nothing. Silent, still. But the air smelled wrong. Damp, decayed, dead. The cabin door slammed behind us, but the fear didn't stop. The air was heavier than night should allow, thick, almost pulsing with intent. Max growled a low, unnatural rumble that made my teeth chatter. He stayed pressed against me, ears flat, eyes wide and wild. The whisper returned, sharper, clearer. Come, out. Emma clutched my arm like it was a lifeline. I can't do this. Her voice quivered. I barely had time to reassure her before a branch snapped behind us. Not distant, close, too close. I spun, shadows twisted between the trees. One figure, tall, too thin, moving with a fluidity no human should have. Limbs bent at impossible angles. The face, I didn't want to see it, but I glimpsed it. Wide grin eyes, too dark, unblinking. A snapping twig again, but this time Max lunged forward, barking ferociously. The shadow paused, just paused, then vanished like smoke. We ran aimlessly in the dark. The undergrowth and roots ripped our clothes. All the trees looked same as we fled upward into the dark. Every sound made me jerk. Was it the sound of tiny animals scuttling about? No. My foot caught on a root. I hit the ground hard. Something brushed my shoulder, ice cold, sharp. A whisper hissed directly into my ear. Faster, run. I scrambled up. Emma was already on her feet, face pale, tears streaking her cheeks. Max barked at nothing again, ears pinned. We stumbled into a small clearing. Moonlight barely reached the forest floor. I thought maybe, finally, relief. Then the shadows inside the trees began to move. A low guttural chuckle echoed, crawling across the clearing like a predator circling its prey. Something darted past Emma's shoulder. Too fast to see clearly, too deliberate to be an animal. We ran again, lungs burning. The forest mocked us. Trails twisting, trees reshaping. I could feel it watching, waiting, enjoying our terror. Every snap of a branch, every whispering wind felt like it had intention. Finally, a faint glow. Our cabin. Home. Safety. My stomach sank. The light flickered. Shadows twisted inside the windows. The whisper grew louder, angrier. You can't hide. Max growled, hackles raised. Outside, the shadow lingered at the tree line, watching, smiling, waiting. Emma clutched my arm tighter. What is it? I swallowed, hard voice, barely a whisper. I don't think we want to know. The whisper came again, unmistakable, sending ice through my veins. Come, out. The cabin, the place I thought was refuge, now felt alive with intent. Waiting. Hungry. And I realized with sick certainty, it wasn't just the forest we were trapped in anymore. The cabin felt wrong the moment we stepped inside. Every corner seemed to stretch the air heavier than normal, smelling faintly of wet earth and decay. Max growled, low, ears pinned. Emma pressed herself to my chest, trembling. A whisper curled around my mind, soft at first, then growing. Come. Out. I gripped the knife tighter. We're not going anywhere, I whispered, though my voice shook. Even saying it felt like a lie. A shadow flickered across the wall behind Emma. Just for a second. Gone before I could blink. Something crouched behind the corner kitchen. Its height was excessive and its limbs were bent. The smile I had witnessed earlier stretched impossibly wide. Dark and hollow, the eyes fixated on us. It moved jerky forward, breaking the sound barrier. not closing eyes, loving our reactions. It's inside, Emma said. I gulped. Let's stay back. Stay in place. Footsteps creaked across the floorboards. Slow, deliberate. Not ours. Coming closer. Max growled louder. His hackles stood straight up. The room seemed to constrict. Every shadow felt like it might lunge. The back door slammed violently. Something hit it from the outside, again and again. Then the side window rattled like invisible fingers trying to pry it open. Cold wind swept across my neck. Multiple whispers, now low, mocking. You can't hide. I realized we weren't just trapped inside the cabin. The forest was alive, and now the cabin was too. The shadow appeared again, closer. Behind Emma. I spun, just in time. That grin. I could feel it in my chest, like it was inside me. I swung the flashlight. It hit nothing. The shadow recoiled, vanishing into a corner. Emma screamed. I dragged her into the small bathroom, locked it. Max scratched at the door, frantically growling warning. Through the crack, I glimpsed another figure, maybe more, circling outside the bathroom. The whisper became laughter, cruel and low. You can't hide. We stayed silent, frozen. Time stretched. Our hearts pounded in sync. Emma's small hand trembled in mine. Max stared at the door, teeth bared. A faint knock at the front door. Hesitant. Human. Not human. My chest tightened. I gripped the knife tighter. The knock stopped. Silence. Then scratching, sharp, deliberate, on the bathroom door lock. My breath caught, a whisper in my ear. I see you. We held our breath. Frozen. Minutes felt like hours. I finally dared a glance at the living room window. Empty. Moonlight reflected off untouched snow. No footprints, no signs of struggle, nothing. But the air, heavy, electric. The grin in my mind still burned. The shadow's presence lingered like a disease. I thought we were safe. Then I saw it. On the living room wall, frost-forming words, "I'll be back." Emma screamed again. Max barked frantically. From the corner of my eye movement, a blur, gone before I could see. The cabin wasn't refuge. It was a trap. And the thing that hunted us was patient, waiting, smiling, always watching. I should have never answered the headlights that late at night. After a long day's work, I was tired and foggy. The Appalachian road twisted on, narrow and dark. My headlights barely shined through the trees. The GPS stopped working hours ago. There was no battery in my phone. Silence engulfed everywhere, except Max. 2 headlights, dead, were the only other things in sight. Apart from the lights, there's no other movement. Deep down inside, I felt the urge to keep moving. There was something unnatural. I decelerated. The lights copy my every action. My tires made gravel sounds. Through the trees, I glimpsed a tall, pale figure who blinked and went away. Our dog Max growled from the back seat with bristling fur. I felt tightness in my chest. A snapping branch echoed close by, though nothing was there. I attempted to be eligible. The headlights followed me around every corner. My chest hurt. My heart was drumming inside my ribs like a bass. Shadows bounded from the edge of the trees. No, they did not. Shadows came out of the trees behind them. Their shadows were longer than they were supposed to be. I noticed a signboard, previously unseen from my end. Old Pine Hollow, that location. There was the one the locals rave on about. People disappearing from that place. I pressed my knuckles into the wheel. Max whimpers. I also attempted to speak with him. Something brushed against the side of the car, like fingernails dragging slow and deliberate. I panicked, swerving onto a side trail. Mud splashed under tires' wheels, skidding. The headlights didn't follow. For a moment, relief. But then, the trail ended at an abandoned cabin hidden under thick pines windows, broken door ajar. Moonlight barely lit the rotten wood. Max growled. I froze. Something moved inside just beyond the shattered doorway. Not human, not alive in any way I could place. I debated running back to the road. Curiosity or fear pushed me forward. Each step on the creaking porch felt amplified, every heartbeat echoing in my ears. A whisper, low and guttural, called my name from inside. "Why are you here?" I held my breath. The door swung slightly. Nothing visible. Silence. Then the rocking chair inside shifted slowly, as if someone had just left. I hardly breathed, my flashlight shaking in my hand. Max bared his teeth and growled louder at the shadow. Despite knowing it was forbidden, I entered. But something inside whispered, "Go inside, or don't leave." I walked inside the cabin. The icy air struck me suddenly. Thick dust choked the corners of the room. The shadows attached to the walls as they crept closer to me. The rocking chair wasn't moving anymore, but I think it tilted to one side when I blinked. Max edged forward with a growl, a cracked photo on the wall. A smiling family. Every face was scratched out, melted into the wood like it was bleeding. My stomach flipped. I raised my flashlight. The beam trembled in my hands, shaking with my own fear. The cabin's air was colder than winter's edge. My breath fogged. Something pressed against the edges of my mind, tugging at memories I'd tried to bury, failures, regrets, the things I'd never told anyone. A whisper slithered from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here." I spun, searching. Nothing. Just walls, floorboards, the chair. But a presence lingered, patient and waiting. My pulse hammered. Footsteps upstairs, slow, deliberate, yet the stairs groaned under no weight. Max barked. I froze. Upstairs. My body moved against my instincts. Every step felt heavier, the boards threatening to give way. The hallway stretched impossibly long. Shadows twisted unnaturally like they were alive. A door at the end stood ajar. Pale light leaked through. I reached for the knob. My fingers touched something sticky cold. Dark streaks smeared across the wood. Not mine, not human. The whispers grew louder, curling around me, crawling through walls, floor, and ceiling. "Why are you here? Why did you come closer?" I fell back. Max's barking was inaudible due to whatever made that noise. The rocking chair currently rocked wildly like claws scarping on the floor. I was gripped with panic. I rushed towards the attic hatch. Each step let out a creak from the attic stairs. The shadows were reaching for me, tugging and grabbing at my mind. I climbed into the loft. The floorboards were loose and about to give. The walls were impossibly stretched out and warped. I squeezed myself into the deepest corner. Quiet. Breathe, people. Waiting. A soft, guttural laugh inside and outside at once vibrated in my chest. Then I heard it. Whispered, almost intimate. "You can't hide." I dared not move. Max whimpered. Shadows flickered on the slanted ceiling, dancing with a life of their own. Something waited, just beyond the flashlight's reach, still patient watching. I thought I was alone. Then a shadow descended the stairs below, impossibly tall, impossibly pale, grinning wide enough to split its face. My blood froze. It wasn't hunting me yet. It had been waiting for me all along. I pressed myself into the attic corner. Max trembled violently, his low growls vibrating through the floorboards. The shadow moved down the stairs. Its grin impossible. Too wide, too sharp. It stretched like the world had warped its face just to terrify me. Goosebumps crawled like icy fingers across my skin. Every nerve screamed run, but my legs refused to obey. A whisper slithered into my mind, not my ears. You came alone, but you're never alone here. The air thickened. Dust swirled in twisting spirals. The cabin groaned as if breathing around me. My chest tightened, my heartbeat pounding against my ribs like a drum of warning. The shadow paused at the bottom of the stairs. Hollow eyes drank in the dim light, tilting its head, reading me like prey. I whispered Max's name. He whimpered, pawing at my trembling hand. Shadows stretched and crawled across the floor, writhing like liquid smoke, reaching for me. The floor pulsed beneath my feet, bending reality. Footsteps echoed above me, slow, deliberate. But the attic creaked not at all. I swung my flashlight blindly. It passed through the shadow as if it weren't solid. Max barked low and desperate. The shadow's grin widened, leaning closer, cold, seeping into my bones like venom. My mind screamed for escape. A photo floated from the wall, spinning before landing. Warped faces stared, screaming silently. Among them, my childhood photo pinned to the wall, twisted, accusing me, mocking my fear. I scrambled for the attic hatch, tripping over debris. Max bolted ahead, barking frantically. The shadow followed, stretching the cabin into a twisted labyrinth. Walls breathed, stairs warped beneath trembling feet. Whispers multiplied inside my skull and under the floorboards. You can't leave. Not yet. You can't escape. I burst through the front door. The night seemed calm. Too calm. Max darted ahead, hackles raised. My flashlight shattered on the porch. The shadow didn't follow, but I felt it, a weight pressing on my back, breathing into my skin. Shapes moved in the tree line. The air vibrated with whispers from every angle. My stomach lurched, blood freezing in my veins. The shadow's voice hissed, intimate and impossible. Next time, you won't run, and I will remember everything. Max growled, pawing at me. My throat went dry. I swallowed bile, heart hammering. The road stretched empty behind me, but I knew. It waited, patient, hungry, eternal. I glanced over my shoulder one last time. The darkness pulsed alive, as if it had learned my fear. I didn't dare move. Not until dawn. Not until the world reminded me that some horrors don't exist outside your mind. They live inside it. If your heart is still racing, imagine facing this shadow alone. Could you survive? Could you protect the ones you love, like Max or your family, if something hunted you this way? Comment below what you would do. Share this story if it shook you, and subscribe for more real terrifying experiences from the darkest corners of Appalachia and beyond. Remember, the shadows are always watching, and the next story could be closer than you think.